Hello and welcome to the Didcot podcast with me, Giselle, and my good friend Charlie.
Hello.
I have to say it every week. It's the worst thing in my life I have to say on a regular basis.
And what's funny is that after 6 episodes, you only actually meant it on the last one. Because I'd helped you out with your wonky foot.
How nice is the weather at the moment? I'm so happy we're finally getting some sunshine.
Do you know why it is? It's all because of the jet stream.
What? What are you talking about?
Super fast winds that happen very high up in the atmosphere that control our weather. And when the jet stream moves around, that's what brings us our weather.
No, are you turning into like some sort of weatherman? Normally, when the children break up for school, it rains, but they've broken up 2 weeks for the Easter holidays, and here we are, bathing in glorious sunshine.
It's been amazing, hasn't it? It really has. And I think this weather's set to stay for quite a long time as well, Giselle.
I tell you what, I took my mum out for Mother's Day breakfast, and myself, being a mum as well, and the sun was so hot on my back in the cafe. We went to Cobb's Farm Shop, which is towards Thiel, had beautiful breakfast.
Yeah, we got to Blueton. Have you ever been to Blueton?
No, what's that?
It's up near, it's in Checkendon, but it's it's an outdoor cafe, but it's amazing. Everything's home produced, but the farm that's on, they do the bacon and all that sort of stuff, and the coffee's great. It's an absolutely lovely place. Yeah,
lovely.
Shout out to Blueton.
Yeah, that's why I went to Cobb's, because it's all like food that they've got from the farm and grown there and everything. It is beautiful.
You're never going to guess what happened to me this weekend, Giselle.
What?
Well, you know how much I like Costa coffee?
Yes.
Went up there the other day and guess what? Closed.
Costa was closed?
Yeah.
That's a disaster. Why?
That's a real disaster. I don't know why, but I went on to, there's a place in Wallingford called Jim Bean's. Really, really nice coffee, really nice place, really nice atmosphere, nice people who are working in there. And I think my days of Costa Coffee are over because I'm going to be a Jim Bean's fan from now on.
Wow, that is saying something.
It's right opposite Waitrose in Wallingford, and it's amazing. Okay. Really nice.
I'm really looking forward to. I'm back at work now because obviously I got my sprained ankle. I had a couple of weeks off. I've hobbled back in, mainly just sat in the office. It's really busy at work at the moment in the housing market.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Why?
gone crazy. Well, we had a big push towards April because of the stamp duty changes and everyone wanting to get their houses going through. But even since then, I don't know if it's because the sun's come out and everything's looking prettier, obviously, with lots of lovely spring flowers.
Yeah.
But we have been absolutely hectic.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's
I bet
really
they were
good.
well chuffed when they found out you were going to have a week off work. Have they asked you to not play netball anymore?
I can't play netball. I'm so upset. Like, I love it, as you know. It's the main sport that I do, and I just can't play. And speaking to a couple of my colleagues who've hurt their foot in the past through football, they've said you're probably going to be out for months.
Yeah, I reckon you will be, yeah.
Coming up on this week's podcast, we're going to be talking to the Police and Crime Commissioner for the Thames Valley. He has told us some very interesting things about what is happening in Didcot in terms of crime. And it's quite surprising because it's the sort of crimes that are happening are not necessarily the ones that you think it may be. I want to talk about what's been happening at Cineworld in Didcot. I mean, it sounds awful. Some of it, clapping, shouting, but then there's throwing drinks at people. Apparently, some children were actually thrown out of the cinema after they chucked a whole drink over a woman and her kids. Apparently, really upsetting. Someone was at the Minecraft movie. They said a load of children were shouting. Apparently, there's a clapping trend on TikTok, so they're just making a lot of noise and disturbing people's, enjoyment of the film. Have you ever seen anything like that in the cinema?
Well, I don't know, but I think this is where I think Matt Barber was quite interesting to talk to about it, because he said, that's what he's there to do, is to find out where the hot spots are. And actually, of course, there's going to be trouble in the Easter Minecraft video. I understand that because kids are kids. But yeah, it doesn't mean you can't prepare for it and have someone there who can control it. And if you can't control it, then the police are called. That's what they're there for. On
one of the threads, James wrote that, to be fair, on Cineworld, the manager did come and address the problem in the screen. But it sounds like there are other screenings going on where maybe there aren't staff there all the time. I mean, how do you monitor it? So I think this is a really good time to hear from Matthew Barber, the Police and Crime Commissioner for the Thames Valley. He has a really good overview of the crimes happening in Didcot and what police need to do about it.
Stay connected, stay curious, and join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, or drop us an email at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for joining us on the Didcot podcast. First of all, what is the most reported crime in Didcot?
The most reported crime in Didcot is the same as it is the most reported crime in most parts of Thames Valley and indeed across the country. Sadly, it's domestic abuse. So it's not the thing that people will think of off the top of their list because it goes on behind closed doors. But sadly, it probably makes up about 25% or so of most officers day shifts will be dealing with domestic abuse in some form or other.
What other big problems do you think there are in Didcot?
We definitely see issues around antisocial behaviour. I know that's something you've talked about on the podcast before. Again, that's not unique to Didcot or the surrounding area. There's some generational issues in there, of the stuff that kids have always been kids and caused a few issues, but we need to make sure it doesn't spill over into the sort of wider threats and criminality that people are concerned about. And I think one of the other areas that actually we're making some good progress on, but remains an issue, is things like shoplifting. Most of those neighbourhood crimes are heading in the right direction. Burglary is really low. The vehicle crime is falling across Thames Valley, but it's still, one incident is more than I would like. So we need to make sure that we're always vigilant. Do
you think there's enough police on the streets to be able to make people feel safe?
In terms of absolute numbers, I want Thames Valley Police to continue to grow, and ideally I want it to continue to grow at pace with our population. That's going to be a challenge, given some of the financial challenges we've got, but certainly at the moment neighbourhood policing is growing and it is heading in the right direction.
I mean, I've lived in Didcot about 14 years now, frequently go to Great Western Park, the Orchard Centre, Lady Grove. I don't remember ever seeing a Bobby on the beat, if you like.
A lot of it's about where they're engaging. The schools and police officers in Didcot will spend quite a lot of time in and with the schools, spend time with the kids who are at train. They will get to know the people that you and I don't necessarily want to know. I think one of the comments I remember for one of your previous podcasts is that the local Bobby who knows everybody in the town. Well, do you know what? I'm always really impressed when I speak to police officers. They do know the people in Didcot and the surrounding area. They know those people who've got bail conditions. They know those people who are persistent offenders. If there's an issue, they probably know who's responsible and whose parents to go and talk to. So actually, I think police officers on the ground do know their communities quite well, but with a growing town, the good law-abiding folk probably don't have a lot of contact with the police. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but increasing that visibility does definitely increase trust.
You mentioned about people recording things on their Ring doorbells or on their mobile phones. Is that something you encourage?
Ring doorbells, mobile phone footage, dash cams, really helpful, gather a huge amount of evidence in terms of supporting prosecution. So one, arguably a very good thing. Putting it on your local Facebook group to warn other people about what's going on, no problem with that. But don't stop there. Report it to the police. So if you've got some doorbell footage of someone coming around kicking your door, and I've seen some of that in Didcot recently, if you've got some footage of someone stealing a parcel off your doorstep, those sorts of things, send it to the police. The intelligence is really useful, and the only way we'll identify the person who's going around nicking the parcels off people's doorsteps is if we get all that intelligence in. And I guess the other thing is to say, if it's happening now, and it's not just 999 isn't just for emergencies. Clearly, if there's an emergency, someone's life at stake, people will generally go 999. But actually, if you see someone breaking into a car, or there's someone committing shoplifting right now, call 999. The fact that you might not think it's the most serious crime doesn't matter. It's happening now. That emergency response could make all the difference to catching someone. It's happened 10 minutes ago. Then find it on 101.
In the wake of safeguarding issues at Didcot Girls' School, are our children safe?
I think people should feel that their children are safe, and I think the evidence is that they are safe. And we, the police need to work with schools to make sure that continues to be the case. I think there are lots of issues around children and phones and impacts of social media, but there is work that the police will do with children and with schools around knife crime, drugs, sharing of images. I think that's one of the most interesting areas actually. Sharing of images is probably one of the biggest risks to young people, and we often think of it as your predatory paedophile preying on young children. The majority of those sexual offences cases with indecent images are peer on peer. They're one child to another. So that may be shared in what someone thinks is a consensual way to start with, and then it's shared on to other people. That's one of those dangers that I think the police and schools need to be very much aware of. So I think we need to recognise that children are growing up in a in the same world, but with the technology enabling things differently.
Matthew, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been really interesting speaking to you. We really appreciate your time on the Didcot podcast.
It's a pleasure. Great to talk to you.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, or drop us an email at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com.
Giselle,
Yes.
we've had quite a lot of interaction now. We've launched the podcast over the last couple of weeks, and the podcast is growing quite rapidly. We've had quite a bit of interaction, especially about your thing about the mobile phones on adolescents.
Yeah, this is about should mobile phones be allowed into schools?
It seems to me there's not actually that much of a debate. It seems everybody that we've spoken to, or I've spoken to, Matt Barber felt the same, was that basically kids shouldn't have their phones at schools. I think we all agree on that. I can't find any parents that think that their kids should be able to use their phone at school. I think that's fairly sensible. Julia from the Drayton Village Community Group said, I think they should have phones for going to and from school to keep them safe so that they can contact and be contacted by parents or friends, which I would agree. I mean, that seems to be the running theme, is that you want your kids to have a phone going to and from school, but you don't want them to have them at school.
I saw Kate Winslet talking the other day on social media about not letting her children have social media at all. She was really strong about it. Also, Claire wrote on the Drayton Village community page as well. She actually disagrees. She says, my daughter's autistic. I would not let her go to school without the phone. But then Andrew also said he has an autistic daughter too. She's driven to school because of the distance, but she does not have a mobile phone to take to school.
If you could actually switch off social media for kids until they're 16 years old, that they literally cannot get on any social media, would you do it?
So this is my take on it, right? I have allowed my children to have social media purely because of peer pressure, because all their friends have it and I don't want my children to be the only ones that don't. But if there was a government ban on social media for children under 16, let's say, I would be delighted. If no children could have it and that meant my children didn't need to anymore, I'd be all for it, because I think the mental health problems it's caused my children, or certainly my daughter, I can see it for myself.
Where do you think those mental health problems come from? Is it because of the time they're spending on a phone, or is it because of what they're seeing?
I think it's a bit of both. So we all doom scroll, don't we? And sometimes if as a parent we get really busy, we allow our children to go on our phones a bit longer than they should. Sorry, I should only speak for myself. But also the content.
So there was a bit of talk a few years ago about making the CEOs of the platforms culpable for what they're showing on their sites. And I just can't believe that doesn't happen. That makes perfect sense to me. What I find hard is that when I was young, we went out and hung around. We hung around outside the bus stop. When you're hanging around bored, you get into trouble. So, those kids in the cinema throwing the popcorn and stuff, we were all doing that when we were young. But it's exacerbated now by things like TikTok. And like you said about the clapping trend, those things make bad behaviour trendy, and that's a really bad way of accelerating bad behaviour. In the absence of the amount of control that teachers and parents used to have over kids, which they don't have now, I think we've got to tread very carefully around the social media thing, because if you just let it go, that's the thing that's going to start changing people by generation.
It's interesting, actually, because Oriel School, coming up on the 24th of April, are going to be doing an event called Offline and Safe, Rethinking Children's Digital Freedom. And, of course, we're going to be speaking to the head teacher from there soon. I think we've all got a role to play in it. The police, the people that own these websites, the parents, the schools. But at the moment, I don't think there's enough being done overall.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, or drop us an email at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com.
Cheers. Can I just say a big thanks to Veronica Reynolds, who's the Sustainability and Community Manager at Milton Park, because she got us the tickets to the Powerhouse Fund evening, which was a really nice evening, wasn't it?
It was lovely, and it was good to meet a lot of local people from businesses, organisations, the local MP.
I went and had a chat with Veronica, and it was really interesting. I tell you, some of the stuff going on at Milton Park is unbelievable.
I had no idea.
Yeah, honestly. And we met Adrian Mancuso, who's the like a senior guy at the Diamond Light Source. He invited us up there, didn't he?
I know, I can't wait, because I think that's going to be fascinating. That might actually blow my mind, what goes on there.
Yeah, he's really interesting, and what goes on up there might not be what you think, actually. It's quite diverse. I went and talked to Veronica, and she had some really interesting stuff to say about what's going on in and around Milton Park.
Milton Park is a massive science and business community with 274 businesses who work here, roughly 9,000 people. So it's a large place and growing, and actually about 40% of the people who work here live in that greater Didcot area. So we have very strong connections with Didcot and the community. With so many interesting companies here. I mean, every day is just extraordinary in terms of what happens. Fusion energy company Tokamak, right behind us here. Not only are they working to advance the field of fusion energy, which could well be a reality very soon, but they're also making these amazing super strong magnets that can be used in all sorts of other technologies. There's also some amazing life sciences companies here who literally every day are working on new cures for cancer, immunotherapy cures. But also just this week, we've just heard that one of our companies has had a drug approved that treats eye cancer, which is a real breakthrough. And then we've got another company called Neum, who have just been nominated for the Earthshot Prize, which is a prize that's given, it's part of Prince William and David Attenborough's initiative to reward and to help companies that are really making a difference in the environmental space. Really important work happening here. We're founder members of something called the Didcot Powerhouse Fund that was set up just over 3 years ago. And the main purpose of that fund was to leverage a lot of the, the good stuff that's going on at Milton Park and try and raise as much money as we can from our businesses to benefit the local community. The Didcot Powerhouse Fund gives grants to all sorts of charities. So this last year, we gave some money to the Corner Men, which is a men's suicide prevention group. Abingdon Bridge, who gets very involved with the younger community, helps them with their career paths and supports them through what can be a really difficult time. Didcot Baby Mondays, they offer really important, valuable support to young mothers. The other thing the Powerhouse does, as well as trying to raise money for local charities, is it has other channels. Working with Sophia, for instance, in helping young people enter the world of work is hugely important as well for many young people. Nearly 3 years ago now, we started our schools engagement programme, working with local schools to bring them into Milton Park to give them a real taste of what the world of work is like. And we now have a whole programme. We're bringing in children from Didcot Girls' School, from St Brianus and other schools in the local area to get them to experience all these amazing companies. So it's giving children a real kind of eye-opener when it comes to the world of work.
So I really like that, because what Milton Park is doing is leveraging money from the companies at Milton Park who are doing amazing things. I mean, that's one thing, but then they're taking that money and giving it to really, really good causes, which I think seems like a really good idea.
They've given out nearly £400,000 now, £100,000 for this year. And I mean, we saw like some of the charities, I hadn't even heard, that are doing amazing work in the community, like the Corner Men, who are helping men with mental health problems. There's a charity that helps children who have got emotional or behavioural problems. There's a lot of things going on to help people in need.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, or drop us an email at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com.
Skate parks. Did you see that Didcot Town Council are what's the word?
Relocating.
No, they are consulting, that's the word I was looking for, on moving the skate park on Lady Grove into the enclosed park area. My children used to go there all the time when we were living on Lady Grove. It was actually a really nice place for them to go.
I've got to be honest with you, skateboarding is the best part of my life.
Oh, why'd you say that?
Well, because my son's got into it. He got into it about 1.5 years ago. He's 14 now. And it's just the best thing, because for so many reasons. Because, well, firstly, it's quite cheap. Skateboards are fairly cheap.
Yeah.
Secondly, there are skate parks everywhere, which is brilliant. And you can do it outside your house. You can do it all the time. I'll tell you what, he does it in my front room, trying to do kick flips in my front room.
I bet you love that.
Yeah, I tell you what, you're trying to watch on TV and you've got him standing in front of the telly doing kick flips.
Oh, bless him.
But it's just brilliant. And then he takes himself off.
Where does he go then?
Twyford, they go to Didcot, they go to Oxford, they go to Henley quite a lot.
There's loads around. They've just opened up another one, I think, in Botley as well.
It's good, healthy fun.
Yeah, that's true.
They're outside.
Off their phones, hallelujah.
They're off their phones. Well, I don't know about that. But there's a number of spin-offs from it. I mean, obviously, they have little gangs that hang around there, right, which is really cool. Also, for my son, he's now getting into, obviously, social media. I'm sorry,
you just said gangs, and now all I can see is, like, Joey in a long black coat with, like, sunglasses.
Yeah, they are a gang, but they're a really cool gang because they're into skateboarding. They're not hanging around mugging old grannies. They are literally doing kick flips, and they're showing off in front of girls, which I think is all natural and normal. So it's really cool in that respect. But also, with social media, they're now getting quite creative and making little videos and stuff like that. So I'm now teaching Joey. I had a really funny thing, actually. I thought, I've got a lot of edit experience. So I thought I'll sit down with Joey and I'll show him how to edit. And oh my God, he sat down with me and he showed me how to edit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they really know their stuff.
Yeah.
So, teaching them how to shoot things and make reels. It really stimulates their creativity, and it's just so wholesome. They go off their mates, they go to a skate park somewhere, and skateboarding is for all ages. But when you're a skateboarder, you're in a little gang.
Yeah.
And, I don't worry about them because they all stick together. They all look out for each other. They have to have respect for each other in the skate park because otherwise they all bang into each other and stuff. It's just, there is no downside to it at all.
Funnily enough, when my children were younger, and I'm talking maybe 4 years old, they used to take their scooters down to the Lady Grove one. Generally, it was really nice, and the older kids would be really mindful of when my two, being younger, were trying to go up and down the ramps and would make way for them and
there's
wait.
Loads of kids. They're all hanging around with their baggy trousers and their skateboards on their back. And the other thing is, right, they've all had to learn to use buses and trains. So my kid's 14, he can get himself anywhere now. He knows how to find his way round things. Do you know what I mean? So that's another really positive advantage of it.
Yeah, it's nice that they can have that independence and you can trust them.
The only downside to it, my only issue with it is obviously I bought him a helmet and none of them wear helmets. They just don't.
Oh, so, yeah. Is it not cool to wear a helmet?
You can't wear a helmet, no.
I used to make my two wear them when they were going on their scooters and when they go on their bikes.
Yeah, but they're kids. They fall over, they bounce pretty good. I don't get too precious about it because the positives far outweigh the potential negatives of, Joey is not far away from breaking his wrist or cracking his ankle or something like that, but that's also part of the learning experience. I've got no problem with that.
You've always been very outdoorsy with your motorbiking background anyway, haven't you? Both your kids love their bikes, so I guess, see, something like that for me would be a big thing, not wearing a helmet, but maybe for you it's a bit more chill.
Yeah, I mean, my other son's into downhill mountain biking, but again, that's quite expensive. You need transport to get to events, stuff like that, so it's a bit of a different proposition, but skateboarding really has been the most positive thing that could have happened in our house.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, or drop us an email at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com.
Giselle, there is quite a serious problem developing in Wallingford town centre at the moment, and that is with the red kites nicking people's food out of their hand. It's happened quite a lot recently.
Blimey, they must be tame to come that close.
My son was eating a sandwich in Wally the other day, and he was just about to take his last bite, and a kite came down and snatched it out of his hand. He said it was unbelievable.
Really?
Oh, by the way, have you heard about the sea eagle?
No. What's a sea eagle, you birdie nerd?
You need to be on alert because they eat rabbits.
Oh, I've got rabbit. Oh, don't say that because my son
do.
will get really upset and paranoid and worried.
And there's one hanging around over, I think it was over Lady Grove. I saw it on one of the Didcot sites. I can't remember which one now. But there's a sea eagle, also known as a white-tailed eagle, which is the biggest bird in the UK.
The biggest bird in the UK? How big is it exactly? I want to know.
It's about the same size as your average sea eagle.
Is it the size of a house?
Well, it's bigger than a kite.
Blimey, that is quite a big... Is it like a pterodactyl then?
I really am not I'm not a bird.
You are a bird nerd. So what am I looking out for? What does it look like?
A sea eagle with big long talons and a big beak. White tail and... Oh, do you want me to... Okay, I'll tell you. Here you go. Right, sometimes pirating...
Is it rare to have them in Didcot?
It eats lambs.
Jeez. So are they rare to have in Didcot?
I think it's really rare, and I think if anybody wants to enlighten us on the sea eagle, or at least come in and explain to Giselle what one looks like.
I just want to see a photo.
Okay. They're cream, buff brown, grey, black and white.
Yeah, sure. I'll just Google it.
It lives in upland, marine and intertidal farmland, wetland and super rural Didcot, apparently. Maybe this one's blind.
Right.
And deaf and lost. Just finally, Giselle, there's been a bit of consternation on Facebook in Wallingford this week.
A bit of what? Consternation?
Consternation, yeah.
That's a new word for me.
Not constipation, that's probably the one that you know.
That's what I thought you first meant, or
There's been a bit of a
constellation.
hoo-ha in Wallingford over people lighting bonfires in the evenings. Someone came on and said they've lit their fire next door and they were getting smoked out, which I totally understand. What was quite funny was quite a few people came on and said, oh, well, just close your windows and, why shouldn't someone have a bonfire and all that sort of stuff. And I've got to say, I think having a bonfire on a warm Sunday afternoon is really incredibly antisocial. And apparently the etiquette is that if you really need to have a bonfire and you can't take it up to the tip or you don't don't have a green bin and you need to have a bonfire, then you should have it after the sun's gone down, when people have closed their windows and gone inside and taken their washing in.
That was a bit of a rant there, Charlie.
Well, I thought about it and I tried to see both sides of the argument, and I think I agree. Of course, someone should be able to have a bonfire if they want, but pick your time when you do it, because if you do it on a warm Sunday afternoon, you're going to really annoy your neighbours. Right, I think I've had enough, Giselle. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, you've had your rant and you're seeming a bit tired.
I was up till 3 last night putting all this stuff together so we could record this.
Come on, you got to be a professional and put on your smiley face
Giselle
like Jennifer Aniston
literally...
in, what's it called? The Morning Show on Apple TV. That was brilliant. That's what you've got to be like her, you have.
I feel like one of those slaves building the pyramids where basically I wake up in the morning and someone starts whipping me. And then just as I go to sleep, they stop whipping me. And that's basically my life at the moment.
Pizzazz, Charlie. Bring the pizzazz.
So if you want to get involved in anything, you know where to contact us on the Didcot Podcast on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at thedidcotpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll see you soon.
Ta-ra.
Bye.